Imagine you are waiting for your partner to come back home. She was supposed to be back by 8 and it's already 8:30. You try her phone but it's switched off. And before you know it, your mind starts preparing for her funeral. Sorrow surrounds you and you feel shattered. Then moments later she walks in. She explains that she was stuck in traffic and her phone's battery had died. Finally, you feel a sense of relief. But wait, why did your mind jump to those awful thoughts in the first place? Does this happen only to you? Or it is something which many of us experience? Well, actually, it happens to many of us. And there is even a name for this type of thinking. It is known as catastrophizing. So in this video, let's discuss in detail what is catastrophizing, how it can harm us, how is it different from being prepared for the worst, why do we catastrophize, and finally we'll discuss a philosophic antidote to catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is a thinking pattern in which we expect the worst outcome in an uncertain situation, even if it's very unlikely. Let's understand this with an example. Jack has a full body checkup tomorrow. For that, he needs to give his blood sample at a clinic. But the idea of getting his blood drawn terrifies him. He starts thinking, what if the blood keeps flowing and won't stop? What if they use a contaminated needle and he gets AIDS? This is how catastrophizing makes us imagine the worst outcomes, even when they are extremely unlikely. It creates unnecessary fear and anxiety. It can become so overwhelming that we avoid taking necessary actions. For instance, Jack might skip his blood test, putting his health at risk. But let's pause for a moment and think about this. Is catastrophizing same as being aware of the worst? Is being mindful of potential risks really catastrophizing? It's important to understand the difference between catastrophizing and being aware of possible risks. Both of them are totally different. Being aware of the worst can actually be helpful. It allows us to prepare for potential threats. But believing that out of all the possibilities, only the worst will happen is what causes the problem. And that is the mindset of catastrophizing. It can paralyze us, making us unable to face the situation. Let's understand this more clearly with the help of an example. In Jack's blood test scenario, it's not wrong to consider that the clinic might make a mistake. After all, we do hear about such instances occasionally. But if Jack believes that the clinic will definitely mess things up, he's believing that only the worst will happen. And that is catastrophizing. This way, Jack might avoid the test and risk his health. So, how can Jack deal better with this situation? What should he do being aware of the risk? Well, he can research the clinic online. If it has a good reputation, This will help ease his anxiety and give him the confidence to go ahead with the blood test. So you see, while it's wise to consider what could go wrong, assuming that only the worst will happen is what leads to problems. Let's now try to understand why do we catastrophize. Why do we sometimes believe that only the worst will happen? To understand this, we first need to examine the types of situations in which we catastrophize. If you notice, these are mostly the situations that are new to us, or the ones we don't face very often. In such circumstances, we don't know what to expect. As a result, our mind makes us focus more on the worst case scenarios. Our brain has a tendency to lean towards negative thoughts. It always focuses more on the negative possibilities than the positive ones. This is called negativity bias. And it is this bias that makes us think about worst possibilities in an uncertain situation. Let's consider another example to understand this. Imagine you have some unusual symptoms and the doctor asks you to take some tests. If you are facing something like this for the first time, it is normal to have thoughts like, what if it's something serious? Or what if I need a major treatment? These thoughts come from our mind's negativity bias. We worry because we don't know what's going to happen. And before we know it, we start expecting the worst, resulting in catastrophizing. Once we understand these reasons, we can start to recognize when we are catastrophizing. We can then remind ourselves to think about all the possible outcomes and not just the negative ones. Let's now have a look at a quote from the Stoic philosopher Seneca. It goes like this: "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." This quote beautifully explains why we should not worry about future events. It is pointless to stress about things that may never actually happen. When we catastrophize, we do exactly that. This only takes away our energy. It even paralyzes our thinking and stops us from handling the situation sensibly. With that, we have reached the end of this video. If you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. It will help me create more such content. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, stay curious.